Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, as Nigel Farage jets off to the United States for the third time since becoming an MP, I'd like to discuss his gaslighting of people in his constituency, as he is spending by far and away more time in America than he is in Clacton. Earlier this year, some of you will know, Nigel Farage was musing on the idea of standing for Parliament. This is long before he made the decision to do so, with Reform UK, of course, and he asked out loud if he really wanted to spend every Friday in Clacton. Because it was always Clacton where he'd be standing. It was the most Reform UK friendly place on earth, the easiest seat for him to win. And in that one comment, you basically had everything a voter should have needed to know about Nigel Farage, the politician. He's not interested in civic duty. Anything he has to do as a politician is a chore for him. Even just spending every Friday in his constituency would have made him one of the laziest backbench constituency MPs in the country, although there are some others just as bad. And the fact that that was going to be this dreadful trial for him should have told voters, yeah, this guy's not going to do anything for us, anything more than he has to do. And as an MP, there's not a lot you really have to do. But as it turned out, between making that comment and becoming an MP, Farage obviously decided that actually he could have his cake and eat it. He could become an MP and not even have to spend Fridays in Clacton. Win-win. We're told by former British MEPs that he used to have basically the same attitude in the European Parliament. Obviously, we know he had a terrible attendance record on the Fisheries Committee. He was supposed to be representing British interests on that committee, but he only turned up one meeting in his entire time there. We also know he had pretty much the worst voting record of most MPs. Well, there are not many MEPs with a worse voting record than Nigel Farage. So we know he wasn't doing much work when he went to Brussels. But he would pop along, maybe like once a month, take a load of selfies to use in order to claim he was doing his job to followers, and then you wouldn't see him there again until he needed another batch of photos for the followers he was conning. And we can see the same behaviour now with Clacton. You could argue he'd always get away with it as an MEP. After all, he was elected specifically to be a pain in the arse in Europe. So non-attendance wouldn't really have bothered his voters. But now he's a member of the British Parliament. He's also representing British voters in their own town. Yet he's behaving in the same way. Yesterday, he tweeted a photograph of himself in Clacton. Must have been on the way to the airport because he's off to Arizona to give a speech to some right-wing nutjob organisation in return for tens of thousands of pounds. It's not reported exactly how much he's getting yet, but he's already been paid a deposit of £12,000. That's the deposit. I guess we'll find out how much in the next year's declaration of financial interest. Had a quick look at the group he's speaking for. They're against dealing with climate emergency. Yeah, very pro-privatisation. Yeah, that checks out. One of their policies is an absolute beauty. They say they want to support employee rights by reducing the influence of unions, because that's how that works. But with Reform UK's recent bashing of both unions and pay deals for ordinary workers, sounds like the sort of lobby group that would appeal to Farage. Mind you, I think the fee of tens of thousands of pounds probably appealed as well. But this does mean that Farage will be going to America for the third time in a matter of weeks, and the time he'll have spent there will easily exceed the time he spent in Clacton, which, as far as I can tell, doesn't amount to more than a couple of days since he won the election. And people will say of Farage's absence from Clacton, you know, his failure to even get an office set up to manage constituency matters so far at least, it won't make a difference to his supporters. I don't know. Instinctively, I'd sort of agree with the sentiment. You know, the thing with a cult is you will never see any wrong in the cult leader, right? Populists are very good at offering hope rather than actually delivering anything, and that they maintain their cults. We know that. However, there are a couple of other things to consider. First, although Farage won 46% of the vote, it only works out at 27% of the available vote in Clacton. If he's seen as doing absolutely nothing at all, then, you know, the voters who didn't vote for him anyway, as well as a load of non-voters not swayed by his glamour, may decide, actually, we want an MP, we haven't got one right now, and next time they may go out and vote for the best placed challenger, which may well be the Conservative candidate, I guess, but at least it won't be Farage. Second, with Farage posting that photo of him in Clacton, it's like he's trying to put in some effort, however minimal, into convincing people that he does occasionally turn up in his constituency. Like, why bother to do that if he really thought it made no difference? During the last Parliament, there were some local groups who campaigned to shine a spotlight on what they saw as crap incumbent MPs. I think the most notable was probably Steve Baker Watch. Well, perhaps there's the scope for some local campaigners to do a Nigel Farage watch. Leaflet the town with what Farage has actually done and not done as their MP. They could note down his many foreign visits, especially where he's getting paid a fortune to be nowhere near Clacton. If Farage refuses to do even his basic job as an MP, would absolutely be possible for ideally a non-partisan community group to put pressure on him. Assuming such a group of people is willing and able in Clacton, because most people have got no idea what their MP is up to most of the time anyway. Because most people never actually need their MP. It's quite uncommon that you need your MP, and when you do, it's probably just every few years. So you don't necessarily know what your MP is up to around the town unless someone's telling you via the local news or leaflets. Most people don't even pay attention to the political news. So there'll be people in Clacton who will be completely unaware that Farage has no idea how to get around town because he never goes there. Yeah, so it would be a really good idea if some locals with the organisational abilities and the time, the combination of those two things does mean you don't get it in every constituency. But, if you've got such a group of people to point that out. Because right now, Farage is just gaslighting his voters, just like he's been gaslighting his supporters across the country. And the absolute cheek of posting a picture of himself in Clacton, possibly just his second visit to the place since the election, when he's about to get onto a plane for America again, frankly sickens me. And that is me assuming that the photo is even from yesterday or even the day before, that he's even been to Clacton recently. He could have taken that photo on the election campaign trail for all I knew, because when he had to be in Clacton, he may have just thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take my rosette off. Let's take a load of photos around some landmarks and I'll just use them over the next few months to show that I'm there. I mean, we don't even know that he was in Clacton yesterday. I don't. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for further content and click the like button. You can also sign up for memberships if you'd like to support the channel further. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.